Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sesh. I'm your host, Raveheart. Here, as always, my best friend, my co-host, my partner in crime, Taylor Surreal. The Dutch Grand Prix. It's good to be back. No rain. I didn't do my rain dance this time. I don't know if Taylor wore his PJs inside out or not, but
not this time.
Yeah, it's like after the last one, it was a little traumatic. It's like we got what we wanted, but way too much of it. This time, we got straight up festival vibes in Zandvoort. Like, I love there's one meme that I saw on Facebook where it was like, what's that going on over Eastern Europe? And it's two astronauts like above the Earth, and like you just look, it's like the Netherlands. There's this orange cloud above. It's like, oh, clearly Max took P1 at Zandvoort. Like, that was good. That was good. But like, yeah, dude, that like the Dutch Grand Prix just jumped to the top of my like, I've got to go there list now. Like, if there's a European Grand Prix I'm going to go to, Zandvoort's up there for me now. Just because it looked like a vibe.
It sounded like a vibe. You heard it.
Also, Tiesto can't wave a flag for shit. Like, Tice, I'm sorry, but, like, no. Dude, like, stay away from F1. I know you're, like, super Dutch, but, like, no. Just no. If you want me to review Tiesto's post Grand Prix set, drop a comment, because I do have some opinions. But yeah, what'd you actually think of the race?
I thought it was pretty exciting. I thought some weird things happened. I thought I liked the race. I thought it was a good race. I thought it was wild how in the very beginning, Max just took off. He gained like
it was like a second up on at the end of the first lap.
It's crazy.
It was like I haven't watched like the Mercedes debrief video, like the one that they like release every week talking about their strategy, but like they're gonna have a hard time justifying their pit strategy this time because it just didn't make any fucking sense.
They had Hamilton pitting in the 21st lap and then in the 71st lap of 72 laps.
Yeah, it was a weird call because it was like it very much seemed like they just put him out at the wrong time. It's like you put him back out into the pack at just the worst possible moment. You could have picked a better time to bring him in. It just seems like Mercedes like is back to making those weird un-Mercedes like mistakes, and Red Bull is just capitalizing on those mistakes. But yeah. I don't really know what more to say other than that. It's like I thought it was like kind of a boring race. Very much. Max pretty much taking it from. Going wire to wire with it. Like, Valtteri led for a few laps, but then after the pits, it was, Max took over. It was like Valtteri wasn't going to hang on with the tires that he had.
Max blew past him when he regained the lead.
Yeah, it was not the dominating performance I think I expected initially, but, like, yeah, he showed out for the home crowd.
As we predicted.
Yep, as we predicted. Which, speaking of, let's move on to this week's Predictors Championship. Oh, and just before we move on, the finishers were we had a Verhambot podium. Lewis Hamilton had the fastest lap. Um, but yeah, let's go for the Predictors Championship recap. So, Surreal Grand Prix coming in, got a nice haul of points. You had Max P1, Lewis P2, and Max on pole, which gets you up to 100 points.
Whoop, whoop. Finally hitting triple digits. Let's go.
But unfortunately, I have extended my lead because I had Max in P1, Lewis P2, Gasly P4,
When I
and
saw
Max
Gasly,
and Max on pole, which puts me at 179 points.
when I saw Gasly P4, I was like, God damn it. Like, mother. Oh.
We will see very soon. Because no bullshit, we are recording our Italian Grand Prix predictions video immediately after this. But we'll see some interesting Gasly related fun coming up at Monza. But yeah, so the storylines for this week, I'm just gonna say the festival vibes at Zandvoort. The only people that I think could muster a challenge to the Dutch crowd at Zandvoort pulling for their boy Max is going to be this weekend at Monza when the Tifosi are going to be coming in. I don't know how many people they're going to be letting into the track this weekend, but like that's probably the one crowd where I think if Zandvoort can be beat for vibes, Monza might be the place.
Yep. That's very possible.
It's going to be interesting to see what it's like this weekend. And then, yeah, so Mad Max and Red Bull retake their lead in the respective championships. Barring more craziness at Monza, which I'm kind of hoping for. Are we going to see another run where Red Bull just kind of rattles off 4 or 5, makes us think that Mercedes is out of it again, and then Mercedes is going to then come back with the last few races of the season to try and, claw back the title?
They will try. But no, I think Red Bull's going to run away with it in this back half of the season. Wholeheartedly.
My whole thing is since Zandvoort is it's only a track that these people would have raced in F3. So for a lot of the guys in F1 right now, that's a pretty significant amount of time that they've spent not out away from that track. So I don't think the win this week is something that really had a whole lot to do with track familiarity. I think the vibe had a lot more to do with it for Max. But it'll be interesting to see because Imola earlier this season was the first time Max has ever won in Italy. It'll be interesting to see what happens again because Italy seems to be where Max always has problems. Last year, he went 0 for 3 finishing races in Italy. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Monza this weekend will be a little. We'll see more more Imola performance out of him and see him pull one out.
Now I'm thinking what we're going to see from him is the fact that he's got momentum now again. He's hype. He's coming off the high of being in the hometown, being in the birthplace, winning multiple races. I think he's just going to snowball and just
having
keep going.
Some Dutch pop star sing his national anthem at him on the top of the podium as like the king of the Netherlands looks on all proud. Like it's like it's the king of the Netherlands and like his dad's like off there in the background like yo, Jos was an F1 driver. Like as like the F1 TV people are like, "You know what? Fuck his dad. We're just going to pay attention to the king who weirdly looks like he could be Max's dad." Like but moving on from the weird Dutchness, like everybody at that track trying to claim ownership over Max Verstappen. Let's go to this week's big question, and that is silly season. What I'm calling F1 Rostermania, the driver lineup conversation. There have been some fucking developments. We got Kimi retiring, which leads to Valtteri going to Alpha. We've got George Russell going to Mercedes. Finally, the worst kept secret in F1 has finally revealed. We've got Alex Albon coming off of his 1 year off from F1, coming back to Williams to race with Nicholas Latifi. The Alpha Tauri boys both re-signing. Yeah, which only leaves that second Alpha seat up for grabs. And I think I've forecasted Teo Pourchaire to fill that role in the past, but I think he might not legally be old enough. He might have to wait a year. I don't know. Like, I think he should be all right, but like, if they don't want to promote him that quickly, it's also like, I don't know. I think Giovinazzi pulling out the 7th in qualifying this weekend may have had some kind of impact. Probably not a big one, but who knows? I don't know. Who do you think is going to take that other Alpha seat?
I thought it was going to be Pourchaire, but now we're talking age limiting and whatnot. I didn't even know you could take up. What is the age requirement for the F1?
I think it's 18.
Seat? And what is he still 17?
I think so, something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's a baby. But the other interesting one that I think might have some implications on is the rather fractured driver relationship at Haas right now. Because Mick Schumacher has just like come out in the media basically saying, "Yo, fuck Nikita Mazepin, dude's a dick. I don't want to deal with him anymore." It's like, yeah, his dad's company's name is on the side of the fucking car, and he thinks he owns everyone, including me. Yeah, I think Mick might be, gunning for a move. And I think Ferrari might be, given like the current situation, I think they might be a little more receptive to him making that jump up to Alfa Romeo, because Haas is going downhill fast. And
oh yeah.
We've got another video coming up here soon featuring F1's favorite Bad Santa impersonator, William Story, and his potential route back into F1. And yeah, I think that might come through Dmitry Mazepin and the buyout of the Haas F1 team. So,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I think that might be the best case scenario for like that second Alpha seat. So I think as much as Italian Jesus is one of the better looking dudes on track, he ain't driving well. And I think it might be time to cut him loose. Bring in the German. It's like it's only a matter of time before it's Mick Schumacher and Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. It's only a matter of time before that happens. So
I would love to see that. Love to see that.
So I definitely think there's an opportunity for that to happen, but it's just like if Mick stays at Haas, there's no it's basically you're not gonna get yourself any closer to where you want to be in that seat.
No, no, that they got all kinds of internal issues going on down there.
Yeah, they are an absolute shit show that we will dive into later. But like, yeah. So what do you think of George Russell to Mercedes? You think he's gonna have some growing pains in that team? It's gonna be like the Nico Rosberg situation again. They're gonna be fighting for who gets the good mechanics and the good parts.
I don't think so. I think of course there's probably going to be a little bit of a learning curve at the very beginning, just with the team, the car, etc. But no, I think he'll do really well there. I really do. I think this has been the chance he's been waiting for. I think it's finally there. I think it's very reasonable to bring him up, and I think he'll do real well. And I don't want to say he's going to give Lewis a run for his money just yet. I still think he'll be kept to be the number 2 guy. Let Lewis do his thing, and if Lewis needs to overtake him, he'll let him, kind of thing. I don't think there's going to be too much fighting. But that said, I think I project Russell being up there like Bottas is in every race, and or placing higher and doing better than he has. To be honest.
Hem for Russ podiums
Yeah,
now.
I think it's going to change to that.
I don't know.
Now that he's got the better cars, better tech, better engineers, better everything, more money. I so.
honestly hope that there's a little bit more fight in that Mercedes team next year.
Sure. Don't get me wrong. I want to see that. I do.
Like, I hope that there's some, not like conflict and drama, but like, I hope that there's like a legitimate, like, it's not just a Lewis is the number 1, George is the number 2. That there's like this, okay, we're going to let them, sort it out on track.
Let the best man win.
That's kind of what it's like. Look, if one guy's faster on the day, then he's going to get the team orders. That's kind of what I'm hoping is going to end up being the scenario at Mercedes.
Well, how far out is Lewis from retirement at this point? Do we have any idea? You think he's still going to go for another 10 years?
Look, if Kimi can do it, Lewis definitely can.
That's what I'm thinking. Lewis still looks like a baby. He still looks young as hell, and in his face and everything, and the way So, with that information, I would love to see, regardless of what I just said, what I think, I would love to see Russell be fighting for that number 1 position.
It's like, I don't think that like Lewis is going to stay with Mercedes and stay on like a top team till the end of his career. Like, that's definitely because like that it happens to every driver. It's like once they hit their peak and then they're past it, they'll still have a seat because they'll they're one of the greats. But it's like Schumacher ended his career at Mercedes, not at Ferrari.
It's just like the Lionel Messi's, the Cristiano Ronaldo's, all these guys in the soccer world. Like they're still playing.
They all end up in the MLS or in Qatar or China or whatever.
More money.
Yeah.
Or the PSG. They're over in France playing, and you know what I mean. They're out of the La Ligas, they're out of the Premier Leagues, etc. Although Ronaldo did just get signed by Man U again. We'll talk about that later. But I think it'll be something like that.
If you want the soccer episode, you'll have to follow us on our other. We'll do a soccer channel at some point.
I think though that they are grooming Russell. I think they look at Russell as somebody that can ultimately, if things play out well, replace Lewis. That's what I think.
Also, speaking of Mercedes, do you think they had anything to do with like the delay in the Albon joining Williams bit? Because it was like that's what was coming out was like Horner was like, oh, we'd love to get him back in F1, like Alpha and apparently Alpha and Williams were interested. Williams ended up being the one to like actually sign him, but it was like there was some like legit drama there for a bit where it was like will Toto basically say, hey Williams, if you sign Albon, say goodbye to your fucking engines because we're not going to be giving them to you if you've got a Red Bull driver on the payroll.
Interesting. I have not yet thought about that. It's possible. We know how things kind of work over there at Mercedes.
But also, it's like I do think that like if Red Bull released Albon to let him join Williams, I could definitely see Alex becoming uh, one of those kind of career Williams drivers, because it's like I have a gut feeling that not that like there's going to be like a major resurgence like right when the new regulation change comes in, but once the new regulations kind of settle in, I have a gut feeling we're going to see Williams in a really good spot just in terms of how they operate and just how that team is structured. Because even though they're small, like they're more than used to operating under the necessary budget cap that the FIA is put in place. So it could be really interesting to see how they are able to put a car together, but also with like a decent driver lineup. Because basically you've got Nicholas Latifi, who doesn't suck. He's not awful, but he's definitely not the fastest guy on the grid. But you also have Albon, who is, who's won races in junior formulas all the way up the line from karting to F2. And, did well at I think it was Toro Rosso when he was still on it. They hadn't rebranded to AlphaTauri yet. But did well there, and then struggled in the Red Bull seat, but didn't get another opportunity once the AlphaTauri rebrand happened. And, now he's coming back in with Williams. I think he could be there for a while. Both of them could. Because, Latifi's got the cash, and Albon's got the pace. I think it'd be a very interesting combo coming up in the next few years, depending on how these regulations come into play.
I think those are some good points right there. Some very good points.
But yep. Valtteri to Alpha. I don't really have a whole lot to really say about that. It's like he's a fast driver. He's comfortable with Fred Vasseur. I guess, whatever.
He's all around solid. I mean, there's not much you can really say negative about him other than he comes through like a wrecking ball sometimes.
It's like his only problem at Mercedes was the fact that Lewis Hamilton was his teammate, and that kind of was what fucked him.
It's like playing on you're a superstar, but your teammates Michael Jordan or LeBron James, or Kobe Bryant. You're shadowed a bit, and it kind of makes you not look as good.
Valtteri Bottas is like the Dennis Rodman of F1. Great in his own right, super fucking weird, but probably less appreciated than he probably should have been.
Fair enough.
Also, probably the most likely F1 driver to wear a wedding dress and marry himself. But, all right, from there, I think we got next week. Not next week, it's technically this weekend. We're coming up to Monza, the home race of Ferrari and the Tifosi. We're going to see you guys in our Monza predictions video. I have been your host, Raveheart. He has been my co-host, Taylor Surreal. If you'd like what we're doing here on the channel, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that shit. We'll be back very soon with our Monza predictions. Until then, adios.